Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Kano Tryharding Modern. Now, this is another deck that people have been asking me to play. Amulet Titan, the traditional build of Amulet Titan, with actual Amulet of Vigor and, Primeval Titan. One thing I thought was interesting is I see that there's an Oran Reef Hydra in this deck. I'm like, okay. That's interesting. It's like an actual just big beatdown creature. I was actually thinking, I thought this was the one that was half of the Primeval Titan. Which one was that? Hang on, search. Oh, hang on, that's wrong menu there. Search your library for a land. Hydra. Ulvenwald Hydra. That's the one I was thinking of. That's the one I thought I was playing there, but I guess not. Anyway, so what does Amulet Titan do? For those of you that don't know, we play Amulet of Vigor, so the lands that would enter tapped enter untapped. Any permanent that enters tapped enters untapped. And we abuse this as a way of sort of cheating on mana with Growth Chamber and other bounce lands like it, because this card now enters the battlefield untapped. It immediately that was a weird hiccup. It immediately produces 2 mana, and we basically abuse landfall triggers with things like Arboreal Grazer, Explorer, Azusa, and Dryad to very quickly ramp out a Primeval Titan and then win with like Field of the Dead or Valakut and Vesuva and that sort of thing. This deck is running 61 cards. I'm not particularly sure why. And I didn't have a second Cavern and a second Force of Vigor, so I'm playing a Veil of Summer and Nature's Claim in their place. I know that's not quite ideal, but just those 2 cards are $40 right now. It's like, don't think I can justify it. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and take this into a Modern League, and we'll see what happens. I'll see you guys in round 1. Alrighty, round 1, here we go. Now, I have played similar decks to this one way back in the day when, like, Summer's Bloom was legal, but not for a very long time. If this hand had a bounce land in it, it would be insane. It's also actually fairly decent, because multiple amulets are crazy in this deck. So we're going to start Forest, play Amulet, kind of give away what we're doing here. Pass the turn. So on turn 3, we can play Valakut and then have 4 mana. Looks like we are against Burn. Oh, draw me a land, Goblin Guide. We only play 28 of them. Talaria West. Alright. We untap. We draw Boros Garrison. So, play Amulet of Vigor. Play Boros Garrison. Stack the triggers properly. Untap it, float mana. Untap it, float mana. And I'm actually going to pick up the Forest here. Sometimes it's better to pick up the Boros Garrison for like further land play shenanigans, but it's not a green producing land. And I'm going to need, I think, 3 mana next turn. Wish with Karn. And we're going to get I think we just get a Wormcoil Engine here. Pass the turn. So next turn, if I happen to draw a bounce land, I can just play Wormcoil Engine, or if I draw a green bounce land, I can play Primeval Titan. Opponent plays a Monastery Swiftspear, suspends Riftbolt. They go to combat, both at Karn to kill Karn. We draw Vesuva. Well, we can play Wormcoil Engine now. We untap. We draw Talaria West. So play Vesuva, copying the Boros Garrison. Stack the triggers properly. Untap Boros Garrison, untap Boros Garrison, bounce Boros Garrison, or bounce the Vesuva Boros Garrison, play a Wormcoil Engine. That should buy us some time, hopefully, and the game is over. Alright, and that was a really, really anemic hand. It just happened to really wail on Burn. So, what does Burn play versus our deck? They might bring in something like artifact destruction-y, like a Shatter Spree, or maybe a Smash to Smithereens. They will have Path to Exile, that much is certain. They could bring in like Roiling Vortex, or Skullcrack to prevent us from gaining life. Do we have anything versus Burn that we need to play? Not really. I'm just gonna run it back, and like, some of our best hands are just like unbeatable, so it definitely feels that way anyway. This hand is close. If this had an Amulet, I would keep it. I'm going to mulligan. Alright, I do like this, though it could be better. I think I'm going to put back Karn here. So I'd obviously like to draw an untapped land to start. Opponent starts Swift Spear, hits us for 1. We go down to 19. We untap. We draw another Talaria West. Unfortunate. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps, plays an Arid Mesa, gets a Mountain into an Eidolon. Alright, well, we're going to probably take a lot of damage off this Eidolon. We untap. We draw Field of the Dead. So, play Amulet of Vigor. Actually, I probably should have just played out another land, but hopefully that doesn't matter. Play Amulet. It only matters if they have Artifact Destruction. It would have been a lot better place if we had an untapped land on turn 1. Okay, opponent suspends Rift Bolt. They're going to hit us for 4. We go down to 9. Untap. We draw Golgari Rot Farm. So float mana. Play Selesnya Sanctuary. Untap it. Float mana. Pick up, I think, Talaria West, because we are holding another bounce land here. We'll play Azusa. We've got to take some damage, though. So we can get up to 5 mana here. Play Rot Farm, which not quite enough for a Titan, unfortunately. Okay, I'm going to bounce Rot Farm. Play Dryad, and then I'll have 2 land plays left. Actually, yeah, I messed this up. Okay, play Dryad. We're going down to 5. We're just going to die to any burn spell. It's fine, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Then we'll play Rot Farm, untap it, and bounce Field of the Dead, and play Field of the Dead, and untap it. Alright, pass the turn. So my opponent has to have another burn spell in hand in addition to Rift Bolt, which they probably do. I did the math wrong, and I think I threw this game. This deck's difficult to play sometimes. Yeah, okay. I'm going to try not to do that for game 3. I needed an untapped land in that opener for it to work right, and I just couldn't brain about that very well. I'm not sure why. It's been a long day for me. Alright, we'll play first. Let's see. Well, we have 2 lands turn 1. No bounce land, but that's fine. We have Talaria West, which we maybe can use to transmute for, like, a Summoner's Pact. This is a turn 2 Dryad. It could be better, but I don't think I want to... Do I mulligan this? We have better hands, I just don't know if I can mulligan into them. I'm going to. I'm going to try. I'm going to see if we can't get something better. If we had green mana, this would work. I'm going to mulligan again. This time we got no lands. Go to 4. Let's do it. I'm going to keep, put back Pact, and Primeval Titan. God, I should have kept the first hand. I should have kept the first hand and just tried to draw into something. I don't know what's going wrong with me today, but my brain's not working. So we're going to start Castle Garenbrig tapped, because that way if we draw an Arboreal Grazer, we can play it. If we draw an Amulet, we can play it. Okay, opponent plays Swift Spear. They go to combat, they attack us for 1, we go to 19. We untap. We draw Boros Garrison. So I'm going to play Growth Chamber, pick up Garenbrig, pass the turn. My opponent untaps. They play Scalding Tarn. They crack Scalding Tarn. They get a Mountain. Play an Eidolon, and they hit us for 1. Okay, we go to 18. We untap. We draw an Ancient Stirrings. So cast an Ancient Stirrings, take some damage. Not great flips, I'll be honest with you. Take a Forest, rest to the bottom, play the Forest, pass the turn. Forest gives us the most options next turn. I guess I could have played Talaria West to actually tutor for a Summoner's Pact, but... Okay, opponent Lava Spikes us, takes some damage off their own Eidolon, Prowess trigger. Lava Spikes us, takes some damage. We're currently at 5 life virtually. We're current at 1 life virtually. Yeah, I think that does it, because I'm not sure that playing Karn does anything here. This is unfortunate. Yeah, okay. I should have kept the opening hand and just ramped. It's not a bad plan. We had blockers. I think I just got greedy. This is my 3rd attempt at recording a video today. The first couple did not pan out, so I'm kind of pushing myself a little bit. I'm gonna try and relax and actually play a game for game 2. Alrighty, round 2, serious time. I would like to play first. Okay, I actually think this hand is fairly decent. Crumbling Vestige gives us green mana immediately, which we can use to power out a Rot Farm and pick up Crumbling Vestige. Play Grazer. Put Rot Farm into play. Pick up Vestige. So now if we draw and Azusa or a Dryad, we can play a whole bunch of lands this turn. Opponent starts Misty Rainforest. We draw an Explorer. I'm going to start by casting Explorer. See what our other options are. Okay, Azusa. So we are going to play Valakut and Talaria West. Pass the turn. We're pretty close to a Titan. We're 2 mana away, and we're holding that mana. So we have to be careful about when we play Crumbling Vestige, because that's going to be where our other green mana to cast Titan comes from. My opponent is either on Uro Omnath or like Jeskai Control, which I guess they're on Uro Omnath because Jeskai Control isn't really a thing right now. Opponent plays a Misty. They pass. We untap. We draw a Dryad. So play Dryad. See if this gets countered. It does not. Play Radiant Fountain. Gain some life. Play Crumbling Vestige. Add green. Then play Azusa. Opponent paths Dryad. That's fine because that gets us to our second green in the form of Forest. Okay, pass the turn. A lot of the time I've watched players of this deck keep Dryad in hand for post-Titan. Like, they go for a Field of the Dead play first to guarantee board presence. I'm not sure which line is better or what kind of situations you do one over the other in. And that's kind of one thing I'm hoping to find out by playing this deck today. Because I think playing this deck hopefully will give me more insight into how to counter this deck when I play against it with my other jankier decks. Okay, opponent plays an Uro. Cool. Them tapping out this turn means we're going to be able to at least resolve a Primeval Titan. Opponent gets a Field of the Dead and an island. We untap. We draw an Explore. So we have a whole bunch of land plays this turn. So I'm thinking we should get Field of the Dead and a bounce land. Yeah, let's do that. Field of the Dead and a bounce land. So play Primeval Titan. Get Field of the Dead and Growth Chamber. And let the Field of the Dead triggers resolve. Growth Chamber going to pick up Forest. Play Forest. I guess I could have picked up Growth Chamber and replayed it a few times, but Explore, play Garrison. Another field trigger. We don't have... I was going to say I probably should pick up Talaria West here, but I don't have quite enough blue mana without it to make it work. So I'm going to pick up Radiant Fountain. That's my most beneficial land to immediately replay. Go to combat, and we'll attack for 1 and 0 to send a message. Hit him down to 20. Short of, like, Cryptic Tap Chain, I'm not sure if there's much my opponent can do in this situation. 5 mana, they play Big Teferi. They tuck Primetime. We untap. We draw Selesnya Sanctuary. So, go to combat. Kill Teferi. Attack my opponent for 10. They go down to 8. So... play Selesnya Sanctuary, get a token, pick up Sanctuary, play Sanctuary, get a token, pick up Sanctuary, play Sanctuary, get a token, and pick up Sanctuary. Whoops, don't need to float mana. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a land. Crack Flooded Strand. They get a basic island. Are they just replaying Uro and going to 10 life? Because that does not save them from this many zombies. They just may not have another option. Now, if they could play Uro here and get enough mana to actually like Cryptic Tap or something like that, that could matter a lot. They get their own zombie. They're going to activate Field to get another zombie. Alright, we untap. They field us on our upkeep. Okay. Get a forest. We shuffle away Titan. They get another blocker. We draw a Growth Chamber. But I can just play Growth Chamber, pick up Talaria West, transmute, get Summoner's Pact, cast Summoner's Pact, get, yeah, I was gonna say, I can just get Dryad and just, like, Selesnya Sanctuary them to death. So against my opponent, I'm gonna bring in Veil and I think Bajuka Bog. I could bring in Ghost Quarter, but that's more, I think, for the Tron matchup. Maybe it works in this one. Maybe it's one that I need. The question is, what do I take out? And I think it's going to be an Orin Reef Hydra. And I think an Ancient Stirrings. And we're going to try it like this. This hand is too slow. This one works. I'll keep this one. And I'm going to put back, I think, Talaria West here. So we're going to start by fetching a forest and playing Amulet of Vigor, I think. Do we get a Summoner's Pact? Play Windswept Teeth, crack Windswept Teeth. I could go for a Breeding Pool. I guess the life isn't likely to matter here. Play Amulet. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Flooded Strand. We draw an Ancient Stirrings. Play an Ancient Stirrings. Opponent cracks Flooded Strand for an island. Kind of anticipating a counterspell here, which is why I led on Ancient Stirrings. We don't particularly need it to resolve. A lot of the time, people playing Uro Omnath get kind of counter-happy without thinking about what they need to counter and when. So we untap Selesnya Sanctuary, float mana, and I'm just going to pick up Breeding Pool, I think. Then we explore. We draw an Azusa, play Field of the Dead, untap it, and pass. I could have picked up the Selesnya Sanctuary to have access to more mana, and maybe do like a land chain with Azusa, but... Okay, opponent plays to Fairy. Bounces Amulet. We untap. We draw a forest. I think I just play a land and play Karn, right? If I had another bounce land, I'd go immediately for a Titan. Yeah, we're going to go for Karn here. The question is, what do we do with it? I'm just going to get coding. If we can get the liquid metal coding engine going, we're probably going to win. Maybe I did want Ghost Quarter. Well, no, we're not playing like Ramanop Excavator. I can't play it a bunch of times out of the grave. Unlike the green-white Titan deck. Okay, we untap. We draw a Growth Chamber. Play Amulet. Float mana. Play Growth Chamber. Untap Growth Chamber. Float mana. Pick up Growth Chamber. Play Coding. This we can play through a mana leak. Target Ketria Triome. If they have Bolt, they can kill Karn, and this kind of becomes a moot point, but... Alright, game's over. It's... Alright, the backup plan was playing Azusa and then doing a bunch of shenanigans with Landfall, and... Alright, we won a match. I'll see you guys at round 3. Alrighty, round 3. Alright, this is a ramp hand if I've ever seen one. I'm gonna keep it. When it starts Turn Timber, Symbiotic Wood. That's another card that probably should be in this deck at least as a one-of. Play Forest, play Grazer. We're gonna put Growth Chamber into play. Pick up Forest. Pass the turn. So my opponent is either on Dread, or the, not Dredge, the Oops All Spells deck, or Belcher. We draw Sanctuary, play a Forest, float mana, explore, play Rot Farm, pick up Forest. Oh, I completely brained that incorrectly. I for some reason thought I could play another explore. I needed to play another Forest, then cast Explore, then play Rot Farm. I did that completely incorrectly. Oh well, it's fine. I'm sure it's alright. Not gonna be a big deal. We're totally not losing to Simian Spirit Guide, Underworld or Undercity Informer. Palaka Predation. You got it. Look at all them cards CMC 3 or greater. We untap and draw. Karn, Great Creator. Perfect. And I've got a Tormod's Crypt. Also excellent. So, Explore. Let's do this right. We'll play 2 untapped lands. Forest, Forest. Play Karn. Wish. We'll get Tormod's Crypt. Play Tormod's Crypt. Pass the turn. And I think that should just about lock it up. Because now my opponent cannot win with Charbelcher, and they cannot win by milling themselves. Oh man, neck is extra poppy today. Sweet. Alright, so this is a time to bring in Force of Vigor, and I think Nature's Claim. We'll go down in Ancient Stirrings, and Oran Reef Hydra. My opponent straight up concedes before we can even get out of sideboarding. Oh, this Amulet deck seems pretty good. I'll see you guys in round 4. Alrighty. Round 4, here we go. Another kind of rampish hand. I'll keep this one. Opponent starts Windswept Heath, so they could be Green-White Titan, they could be my deck, they could be Heliod Company, or they could be Ponza. Ponza is potentially very bad for us. Does Ponza change what we do here? I think, on the chance that my opponent is playing Ponza, we are actually going to lead on Ancient Stirrings. Does Sunhome enter tapped? No. Okay. I am going to get Sunhome here. Rest to the bottom. Pass the turn. I was hoping to maybe find Amulet there, but it doesn't look like that was what was going to happen. Opponent plays Stomping Ground. Pillage. Okay. Well, I'm glad I did not play out the Simic Growth Chamber. We draw Talaria West. Play Talaria West. We're saving Sunhome for a turn that we could potentially play Amulet plus like Growth Chamber, or Sunhome plus Amulet. And my worst nightmare is realize this is actually the Stone Rain version of Ponza, or like the red-green mid-range deck. It's red-green Stone Rains is what it is. It's not red-green, oh, we're going to play Clothis. It's actual red-green Stone Rains. Alright, well, we get to actually keep that land in play. We draw Boros Garrison. Oof. I do not want to play this Growth Chamber because of, like, the theoretical what's going to happen after I do, but I don't really have a choice. I need green mana this badly. Pass the turn. We're going to discard... I think it's Summoner's Pact, actually. Summoner's Pact is going to be too risky for a very long time. We really have to hope our opponent doesn't have another Pillage or a Molten Rain here. Or, I mean, honestly, they really can't have Trinisphere either, which is something that this deck occasionally main decks. I mean, that sucks a lot. But, I mean, we at least get to put lands untapped? Alright, well, untap. Yeah, this was... The hand I kept is not the hand that beats what my opponent is doing. Opponent upticks for damage. They play Bloodbraid Elf into a Seasoned Pyromancer. I would basically have to draw a green source here. And I don't even think that does it, because... Alright, yeah, I'm just going to concede. The chance that we come back from this is basically 0. There's like 0.5% chance of victory. So this is a Force of Nature, Rexage, Nature's Claim, Sword of Time. I am going to keep the Ancient Stirrings in the deck. I'm going to drop Oran Reef Hydra. I think... Oh, what do I take out here? Azusa might be ambitious. And I'm going to cut one Summoner's Pact. Just because it's going to be hard to untap with double green frequently. I don't want to cut all of my Summoner's Pacts because the card's like crazy powerful, but... Alright, I would like to play first. Not with this hand, though. I maybe can make this work. It's an awful lot of tap lands. I think I'm going to try going to 5. Okay. This I like a little bit better. We'll put back Prime Time, and I think I have to put back Ancient Stirrings here, actually. Start Shock Breeding Pool. Grazer putting Talaria West into play. Pass the turn. We need some good top decks, though. Garrison counts. Play Radiant Fountain. Gain some life. Play Dryad. Play Garrison. And I'm going to pick up Talaria West, because now I actually have the capability to transmute it. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks Windswept Heath. Gets a Stomping Ground tapped. They untap. Play a Mountain. 2 mana. Cindervines. Okay. We draw and explore. I have 4 mana right now. Only 1 of it green. Well, I guess 2 of it green. But my opponent can Dryad us, so if I transmute for like a Summoner's Pact or something, I'm probably going to regret it. I think I just cast Explorer here. Take a damage, sure. Get a Karn. Play Talaria West. Go to combat. Attack for 2. So even if my opponent plays Blood Moon next turn, I can resolve Karn. If they just take their turn to kill Dryad, I can still play Karn. And if I play Karn, I'm probably wishing for Coding, even though I'm close to Wormcoil Engine, and that's a difficult card for them to answer. When it plays a forest, they pillage our breeding pool. Well, I'm glad they didn't hit the land that taps for 2 different colors. We draw Growth Chamber. Play Karn. Take a damage. Wish with Karn. Yeah, we're going to go with Coding. Play Growth Chamber. Pick up Radiant Fountain. Play Radiant Fountain. Gain some life. Hit our opponent for 2. Opponent untaps. We can cast a Primeval Titan if we top deck 1 here, unless my opponent kills Dryad, or plays a Blood Moon. Opponent plays Wooded Foothills, cracks Wooded Foothills, gets a Stomping Ground untapped, pillages Growth Chamber, bolts Karn. Okay, so Liquid Metal Coating really not doing anything. We draw a new Karn. So play new Karn, take a damage. Wish. Do I just get Walking Ballista? It might be the fastest way to close the game at this point. Engineered Explosives probably doesn't do anything. Pithing Needle on Cindervines probably just makes them sack Cindervines. Wormcoil Engine we run the risk of not being able to cast. So I think I have to take Walking Ballista here. Go to combat. Attack our opponent for 2. Opponent untaps. Plays a land. Plays a Klothys. We untap. We draw Explore. Do I play Coding and blow up a land? Or do I just play Ballista X2? I think I'm going to play Coding. My logic here is, all other things being equal, if we blow up a forest and my opponent Blood Moons, we could potentially lock them off of green for a little bit. Blow up a land. Explore, take a damage. We draw Explore, go to combat. Attack them for 2. My opponent may not want to sack Cindervines simply for Devotion, because if they can get enough Devotion to animate Klothys, we're probably in real trouble. Okay, they stomp Karn down to 2. They untap. Exile Explorer, we take 2, they gain 2. My opponent can now play a Bone Crusher Giant. We untap. We draw a useless grazer. Yeah, I guess I keep blowing up lands. I'll go after the stomping grounds. I still don't really want to play Ballista. I think I should cast this Explore while I have the chance to cast this Explore. Take a damage. Explore finds us a Talaria West, which, while I can transmute it, it's probably better if I just play it now. I'm not going to play out this other... Well, I probably should actually play out this other Grazer, but I guess keeping it... It's unlikely we don't have any natural green sources, and our Dryad may not be long for this world, so I'm going to just cast this, I think. Alright, can't put any cards into play with it. Opponent untaps. Clothis exiles and Explore. We lose two, they gain two. They have Ancient Grudge. They're attacking Karn. Chump with a Grazer. At least now if we draw an untapped land, we can play Wormcoil Engine, and that probably is game over for our opponent. Alright, it's an untapped land. Play Windswept Heath. Wish with Karn. Get Wormcoil Engine. They can destroy it one turn with Cinder Vines, but they can't attack into it until they do. Go to combat. Attack our opponent for 2, take them to 10. They untap, they draw. Clothis exiles Grazer, we take 2, they gain 2. Oh, they also have Ancient Grudge, so they can just fog this Wormcoil a bunch. We untap. We draw Growth Chamber. Play Growth Chamber. Pick up Talaria West. Transmute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We only have 6, so we can't just get Field of the Dead. So I think I'm actually going to get Summoner's Pact here. Go to combat. Attack my opponent for 6. An Ancient Grudge. Okay, we get 2 tokens. Uptick Karn. Pass the turn. Could play Ballista on 1. Don't think it's a good idea to do that right now. Opponent cracks Windswept Heath. It's a Stomping Ground tapped. Big top deck moment here. My opponent untaps, they draw Clothis. If they exile Wormcoil, I could just wish for it again. It's actually better than having it in my grave, but it's whatever. Okay, opponent passes. We untap. We draw and explore. Cast Summoner's Pact, take a damage. Get Primeval Titan. We have 5 lands with different names. Play Primeval Titan. We can just get Valakut Vesuva. But if I do that, my opponent could crack Cinder Vines, and then we would not do any damage at all. So I think it's best if we get Field of the Dead and like Golgari Rot Farm. Because this way, we get some tokens, we can pick up Radiant Fountain and gain a little bit of life back. Get another token. Gain a little life. Go to combat. Attack, attack. Okay, opponent's going to destroy the life-linking token. Sure. Take 2. Wish with Karn. I think I'm just going to get Wormcoil again. Pass the turn. It's probably not going to be relevant. Because next turn, since they gave up on their enchantment destruction capability... Oh, I guess if they draw exactly another lightning bolt, we're dead. And this is why we left the fetch uncracked. Alright, opponent gave up. Because had we cracked a fetch and they drew a lightning bolt, we would have died. Yeah, I guess we run it back. This deck is looks so easy to pilot, and it is not. It is not easy to pilot. Alright. My opponent being on the play means this hand is a bit dangerous. I think I'm still probably going to end up keeping this, but I'm going to think about it while I restart the client. So, do we keep this? The odds that my opponent has a turn 2 pillage are small, but not 0. We could start Ancient Stirrings. Yeah, I'm going to keep this hand. We have a lot worse hands than this. Opponent starts Forest, Utopia Sprawl, probably on red. Okay. Which means we need to not go for the Growth Chamber play first. Play Breeding Pool, Ancient Stirrings. We did not find a green land, unfortunately. Well, I found Castle Garenbrig, but we did not find a forest. Take Castle Garenbrig, rest of the bottom, pass the turn. Opponent plays a forest. I guess if we get Blood Moon, that's probably game, unless we can top deck a forest naturally. Alright, it's Clothis. It's not a Blood Moon. So we untap. We draw Dryad. Play Radiant Fountain. Gain some life. Explore. We draw Valakut. Play Castle Garenbrig. Play Arboreal Grazer. And put Simic Growth Chamber into play. Picking up Radiant Fountain. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They can exile a card to deal 2 damage and gain 2 life. They play Stomping Ground. Does my opponent have a pillage? Because that would feel bad. They do have a pillage. Alright, we untap. We draw an Explorer. Play Radiant Fountain. And we have the option of playing Dryad or Rexage. I think I'm going to Rexage and just take out Utopia Sprawl. They're going to play Blood Moon, and I'm going to regret that, but I think I got to do it. The fact that they can blow up a land to get more red mana kind of sucks. They exile Utopia Sprawl out of their own grave rather than Ancient Stirrings out of ours for some reason. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. We need to top deck a forest. If we top deck a forest, we're mostly okay. Well, it's not a forest. Play a Valakut, go to combat. Hit our opponent for 2, pass the turn. We have 4 forests in the deck, so it's about a 1 in 12 chance that we draw a forest. We have basically nothing we can play other than that. Opponent doesn't do anything. We draw another Dryad and it taunts us. Play Talaria West because transmuting is kind of a pipe dream at the moment. If we drew a forest and we could play a Dryad, then we could transmute, but it would be risky. Opponent drains us again. Bloodbraid into a pillage. Well, even if I had drawn a forest, they would have blown it up. If we can draw... Oh, we can also draw Karn. So, in reality, it's actually 8 out of 48, which is 1 in 6 that we have a good draw. And it gets slightly better every turn that it doesn't happen. Opponent is debating about what to use Pillage on. They take out Talaria West. They go to combat. They attack us. We're not going to block the first time. Untap. We draw a forest. Play a forest. Play Dryad. Explore. We get a Force of Vigor. Pass the turn. So, on my opponent's end step, we can force pitching Grazer to kill Blood Moon. Especially if they play a redundant Blood Moon, we could blow up both. And then we're really only a land away from playing Titan. Okay. Opponent drains us. They boil. So we have to force killing our own Dryad and Blood Moon. That sucks. But at least we have another Dryad. Boil fizzles. Well, it kills our breeding pool. So I guess it wasn't completely in vain. We untap. We draw another Grazer. Yeah, I guess we play Dryad because the odds that my opponent has another Blood Moon is probably higher than the odds of them having another Boil. Attack them for 2. I guess there's no real reason to not play out Grazer now that we've used our Force. I completely forgot that I brought in a Force. I only have one of these cards, and if I had a second one, I might remember more frequently, but opponent drains us for 2. They play a Windswept Teeth. They only have 3 cards left in their hand, but they're good ones. If they downtick to kill Dryad, the number of outs that we have decreases. We untap and draw Summoner's Pact. Is there any creature I can get on 4 or less in this deck that would matter here? Probably not, and Summoner's Pact does open us up to dying really quickly. The odds that my opponent has a Bolt is pretty high. Attack Chandra, attack Chandra. My opponent does not block. Chandra goes to 1. Play Grazer. Okay. Well, if we can draw an untapped green land, we can play Prime Time. Opponent fetches and shocks a Stomping Ground, a Lightning Bolt, and we're dead. We're not favored to win that one. Alright, I'll see you guys in round 5. Alrighty. Round 5, here we go. We have lost the die roll. Too many Primeval Titans, not enough ramp. This one looks slightly better. So I'm gonna keep this one. I think I put back... Well, we kind of want to get a bounce land, so maybe I don't put back Ancient Stirrings. Put back Prime Time. That's almost certainly wrong, but we're gonna see how wrong it is in a moment. My opponent is playing a Luris deck, which means Hammer Time, Death Shadow, or Burn, which is generally just Death Shadow. Okay, opponent plays Bauble. Cracks Bauble. Plays Bloodstained Mire. We untap, they draw a card, so it's looking to be Death Shadow right now. We draw Field of the Dead. Play Breeding Pool, untapped. Ancient Stirrings. We can either take Growth Chamber, or we can take Amulet. I think Growth Chamber is potentially more important here. Yeah, I'm going to take Growth Chamber. Rest the bottom. Pass the turn. Because next turn, just playing Amulet doesn't really do anything. Opponent fetches up a Blood Crypt tapped. No aggressive life loss from the opponent? That's kind of surprising. If we can draw an untapped land, we can play Explore into Growth Chamber. Opponent plays Fiery Islet. Opponent plays Dreadhorde Arcanist. Okay, this could be a like mid-range deck. So we didn't draw an untapped lands, we just play Growth Chamber and pick up Breeding Pool. Pass the turn. We get Inquisition, so I think my opponent takes Dryad here. They take Dryad. They Inquisition us again, taking Explore. That's a powerful interaction. We take 1. Opponent plays a Bloodstained Mire. And passes. We untap, we draw Rot Farm. Play Field of the Dead. Pass the turn. Opponent fetches up a Watery Grave. Probably tapped. This... Well, no. I was going to say, this could be some kind of weird Time Warp deck, because there is a... Okay, no, it's just Grixis Attrition. We get bolted. Dreadhorde Arcanist is a very powerful, repeatable spells engine when not answered. Which, I mean, not answering it is exactly what I'm doing right now, so... My opponent is playing Kroxa. They're going to hit us with Lightning Bolt this turn as well. So we're going to go down to 10. We have to discard, take 3 more. Discard Valakut. Yep. So we go down to 7. We untap, we draw Windswept Teeth, and we just die. How unfortunate. Okay. So versus my opponent's deck, I want Bojuka Bog, and maybe Dismembers, but probably not really Dismembers. I'm going to cut the Hydra again. Try it like this. Alrighty. I would love to be on the play. Let's have a good hand. Alright. This feels keepable. We only have 1 million Explorers we can cycle. So, start Forest, play Amulet. And if I get Inquisitioned, I probably won't even care that they take Azusa. Azusa? A-Z-U-S-A. I keep flipping the S and the Z. And it will be back and forth at random. So, forgive me. Or don't. That's your choice. Alright, opponent fetches up a Blood Crypt. Thoughtseize. When every card in my hand is the same, what do you take? I mean, Azusa probably is the scariest looking. Alright. Sad face. We untap, they draw a card, then we draw a card. Ancient Stirrings. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to start Ancient Stirrings. I think having another non-Grolturf land is probably the way to go. Play Grolturf, untap it, float mana, bounce Grolturf, explore, Amulet of Vigor. Alright, play Grolturf, untap it, pick up the Grolturf again. I'm dumb. I meant to tap it, but I did it in the wrong order. Oh, Kano brain. Like, you could literally, I hope you could see on camera the sparking that was happening between the 2 wires, the 2 synapses unfried left in my brain. tiny sparks trying to form just didn't happen in time, and I clicked wrong. Oh, man. Well, I mean, like, what's going to be really cool is we can play Amulet and then start generating... This is a big brain play. We're going to play Amulet. We're going to start generating a ton of mana every single time we play Grulturf, and then we're going to explore, and Explore is going to become this cantripping ritual for us. And my opponent's just going to tap out for a Dreadhorde Arcanist anyway. Like, what are they going to do? It's not like they have another Thoughtseize that they're willing to use, which just doesn't exist. It's not going to happen. We're totally fine. Actually, big brain punt. It wasn't a punt. It was a field goal attempt. Alright, opponent plays Steam Vents. They tapped out for Dreadhorde Arcanist just like I said they would. I knew this was going to happen. Calculated, 100%. Oh, and we drew Summoner's Pact. Play Amulet of Vigor. Play Grulturf. Stack the triggers correctly. Untap, float mana. Untap, float mana. Bounce Grulturf. Explore. Play Grulturf. Stack triggers correctly. Untap, float mana. Untap, float mana. Bounce Grulturf. Explore. Play Grulturf. Untap, float mana. Untap, bounce Forest. Summoner's Pact. Prime Time. Play Prime Time. And then we're going to go get, let's see, Boros Garrison and Slayer's Stronghold. Yeah, we actually had the kill there. So the plan was to untap both of these, activate twice, make Primeval Titan a 10/10. Then when we swing, we get Vesuva and Sunhome. We float enough mana to give it double strike, and it's a 10/10 double striking Prime Time. And my opponent is at 13. So actually big-brained my way into a victory quite unbelievably. Just galaxy brain punts. When you hang out with Kano, when you lose, you win. This hand's a little too fragile to Thoughtseize. I'd like to have more playables. This works. If we get Thoughtseized, it's going to be sad, but at the same time, I'm not too worried about it. Keep. Put back Rot Farm. Opponent starts Fiery Islet. No turn 1 Thoughtseize. They might have a Spell Pierce or something, though. So, play Amulet. Pass the turn. Smelt. oh god. I like terrified myself. My opponent has a Braid. So we pass to them. Opponent plays a Bloodstained Mire. Cracks Bloodstained for a Swamp. And they play Dreadhorde Arcanist. We untap. We draw Primeval Titan. So I have 3 mana that I can Explore, I can Grazer. Can I play Primeval Titan this turn? So if I play Grulturf, I can untap it. Then I can add 3 mana. Then I can pick up Grulturf. Then I can play Grazer, putting Grulturf into play, untap it, and have 4 mana. Then I can Explore. I guess I should probably start Explore, just like cycle it, and see what we draw first. So start Grulturf, untap it with Amulet, float mana, bounce Grulturf, Explore. Just a free draw here. Okay, Summoner's Pact. So I can Summoner's Pact for Azusa, play Grulturf, float mana, untap it, bounce it, play Arboreal Grazer, float mana, untap it, bounce it. I'm at 4 mana. I have 2 land plays left. I can play... Well, yeah, I have 4 mana. I can play Azusa. I have 2 land plays left. That leaves me with 1 mana, plus 4 is 5 mana. But there's no Castle Garenbrig involved in that. How do we do this? Maybe we just Karn our way to victory here? Come on, brain, think. I could Summoner's Pact for another Grazer. Hang on. So I can play Grulturf, untap it, float mana, bounce it. Then I can play Grazer, put in Grulturf, float mana, untap it, float mana, bounce it. Then I have 4 mana. Then I can Summoner's Pact for Grazer, put in Grulturf, float mana, untap it, bounce it. Then I have 5 mana. Does that do anything? I think that just kills me, actually. What can I do? Maybe I just, like, go get Azusa and just, like, play out as many lands as I can this turn? That's probably reasonable, right? Then I have something that could block Dreadhorde Arcanist. Karn, I could wish for Tormod's Crypt or something, but that's probably not enough. Okay. I think the plan is to get Azusa and just, like, play out all of our lands. Play Grulturf. Untap it. Float mana. Bounce Forest. Do I Summoner's Pact here, or does that kill me? I would have to pay all of my mana next turn. It's probably just... Yeah, I messed this up. Oh well. Yeah, I needed to... Yeah, whatever. Alright. Just put stuff into play. I'm sure it'll be fine. I did so many calculations in my brain, I got lost. I have to rest after this. I have to like take a day off from making videos. Which thankfully, if I'm actually pre-recorded ahead, this should be fine. I should actually be able to do that. But man, I am like so fried right now. Also, of the two lands that well, no, I guess it doesn't matter. I was going to say, if I put in Forest, then if I drew an Amulet, I could play the Amulet and play Garenbrig and untap it twice. But by virtue of having the Forest in play, it wouldn't untap. So now my opponent is thinking. My opponent is very deep in the tank or gave up. Okay. Opponent attacks with Dreadhorde Arcanist, casting Thought Scour on themselves. The mill Bauble and Kolaghan's command. We block to stop from taking 1 damage. If we top deck a bounce land, we can cast Primeval Titan. That would be cool. My opponent passes to their main phase. Plays a Kroxa, and I think I discard Summoner's Pact here. It just seems like the most dangerous card for us to have. I understand someone who's a better pilot than me might be like, but Kano, if you just Summoner's Pact for Azusa, you win, because if you... Yeah, no, I can't right now. I wish I could explain. I've been up late 2 nights in a row. I wish I could explain to you the level of IQ left in the tank, I guess, because it feels like it's dropping rapidly, and I'm so sorry. Opponent plays Pithing Needle. What do they name? What do they name? Karn Great Creator, the jerk. How did they know? We untap. We draw Sun Home. Replay the Forest that they know about. Pass the turn. Not gonna cast Karn. I'm gonna pray we don't get Thought Seized once, let alone twice. If my opponent reanimates Kroxa, we just drop Karn Great Created. Great Created? The Great Created Karn. I mean, I guess that describes him. Urza made him, right? Out of pure silver. Alright, opponent plays Kroxa by reanimating him, so we discard Karn. No! Stop! They get back Kolaghan's command. This is so rude. That is brutal. That is amazing that you can claim to fame Kroxa and then force us to discard. And they're destroying Amulet of Vigor, so we need an untapped land. If we top deck an untapped land, we can play Prime Time. But we have to top deck an untapped land. Oh, man. Take 3. Give me that sweet untapped land. Let me draw a Forest. Gonna place Bloodstained Mire. We untap. No! No! Okay, hang on. Brain. My opponent is gonna play Kroxa next turn. So we're gonna hold on to this Amulet of Vigor. We just need to draw a land. We're going to dump Amulet of Vigor to Kroxa. Man, claim to fame. 1 mana, reanimate Kroxa, force your opponent to discard or take a bolt, or both. And then you can use the flashback to pump up your Dreadhorde Arcanist. This deck is incredibly Dreadhorde Arcanist-centric, and I imagine it does not work very well without having the creature on board. It seems like the deck is just kind of like this good kind of Rakdos, Grixis attrition deck that is just insane if they have a 1/3 that sticks around on turn 3+. Like, it gets so much value. Like, I remember Bone Daddy had me play a list that had Kess Dissident Mage that was like a Grixis Flash deck. And the problem with that deck was it was just really, really difficult to get advantage. You could if you played the game and very, very well at a high skill level and you knew what you were doing, which, of course, I'm not capable of. But, like, okay, we're going to discard Amulet. I need to draw a untapped land or a bounce land. But, like, my opponent's deck, as compared to, like, the Kess Grixis list, is just like, yeah, we're going to get some mild value. Unless we stick this 1/3 around and it just happens to survive because it looks very not threatening. Don't you dare. Okay, cool. I was going to say, don't you dare Kolaghan's command me again. I'll be so upset. Last card. Is it a bolt? It's a bolt. Alright. Untapped land. 1 time, please. I need it. We untap. It's not. It's not. It's not. Pass the turn. We gotta hold it in hand. Because my opponent's gonna reanimate Kroxa this turn, so we need something to discard. Here comes the Kroxa. No! That ruins the whole situation. Take Azusha. She's threatening, right? Why? Do you have another discard spell? I'm 1 mana. Oh, that's why. You can just flashback. Thoughtseize, because I can't brain. Oh, I can't brain. Oh, Magic is so beyond me at this point. I am so sorry. I will do another Amulet Titan video. Just, like, give me a couple days to recover and actually regain some gray matter. We're gonna have to discard. So we're gonna take Vesuva, rest of the bottom, play Vesuva, copying Watery Grave. It doesn't really matter at this point. It's just if we top deck a Titan or a Summoner's Pact, we need to be able to get. Well, I guess Field of the Dead. We don't have enough lands to get for Field of the Dead. My opponent had one too many discard spells early. I'm so frustrated because we had the untapped land and we had the prime time and we did nothing to discard to our opponent's untargeted discard, and I'm so salty about that right now. There's been several games like that for me within the last 48 hours where it's just like I am so close. Oh, okay, never mind. I'm just dead? Why don't you reanimate Croxa? Just pay 4 mana and just exile cards from your grave. Oh no, this kills us. This actually kills us because, yeah, Okay, cool. Nope. Deck's sweet, opponent. I wish I could play it. I actually think that deck is really awesome. I'm just really salty and frustrated at the moment. So, oh man, I feel like I'm drunk, but I'm definitely sober. Where did I put that deck? Amulet Titan. Is it a good deck? Only if you can brain. Only if you can brain is it a good deck. This particular list struck me as weird because it's playing 61 cards. We're not maxing out on like more land play shenanigans. It kind of feels like, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I know in the comments for this video everybody's gonna be like, Kano, did you know you punted here, here, and here? And I'm gonna be like, no, but I imagine I did because I don't remember recording this video. Anyway, I imagine like this is my. You know what? I don't even think I'm qualified to give an unenlightened opinion on this one. I'm just gonna say the deck did not work for me because I was not in the mental state to play it correctly. But we still got some wins, and that's good enough for me. If you're as brain dead as I am right now, due to exhaustion or lack of sobriety, this is not the deck for you. But it is a powerful deck. I will see you guys in the next video. If you like this video, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and remember you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and hope to see you there sometime. Until next time, I want you to know you're all wonderful human beings, and thanks for watching. Bye!